12 avoidable facelift mistakes.
Hi, I'm Jude, the founder of @Jude Reborn Girl. I'm 71. I had 5 facial plastic surgery procedures in 2023, and I had a great success. I had wonderful results, obviously look a lot younger than my age. And so I was really inspired to share my experience and everything that I learned along the way with other women. And ultimately, I started a facelift group on Facebook called Facelift 101 so that I could help to inform and inspire other women. And with the channel and with the group, I have learned a lot through observing, through helping, through being a part of people's experiences, both before and after. So I've been sharing and I've been counseling lots of women that are in my group on Facebook. And it occurred to me that many women would want to know what I'm sharing with a few women monthly. So I decided to bundle it all up, put it into a video. Now, if you watch till the very end, I'm going to share a fun method for finding a great plastic surgeon in the US or Canada. But you have to watch till the very end, and then you'll get that great little clever piece of information. And I think it's going to help a lot of you that, quite frankly, kind of don't know where to start to find that perfect doctor. So let's dig in and let's get going to guidance point number 1 on not making a mistake with your facelift. Okay, guidance point number 1. Now, it's easy to be rattled when you spend a lot of time online and you're researching and you're doing your due diligence and you're trying to look at people's comments about planning and having their facelift. And what happens is you get spooked. You read a lot of scary, negative comments. And I am here to tell you, don't do that. Don't read them. Don't buy into them. 99% of everything you read on the internet doesn't apply to you. And I'll tell you why. Those people were people that should not have had facial plastic surgery to begin with. And that's what you don't know. These are unhealthy people. They have various medical issues. I'll let you figure it out because I don't want to insult anyone. But these are people with what we call comorbidities. These are people with different medical conditions that chances are you just don't have. So they go into surgery thinking it's going to be a breeze, and it's not, because they have complicating factors. If you are healthy, you should not buy into their concerns. Your situation will not be like theirs. The other reasons are 9 times out of 10, they didn't use a US trained doctor. They used someone from out of the country. And they may not have even used someone that was board certified according to the standards of where the doctor operates. Now, how do I know this? Because I went down many rabbit holes. I'm a researcher. In my prior life, I was a training director for big corporations in the cosmetics industry. I was in groups and I was reading all the comments and following the comments through thread after thread after thread. And what I ultimately discovered, and it became a pattern, is that all women would admit, maybe many, many paragraphs later, that they did go into their surgeries with big health issues, or they used a doctor that was from a different type of country that didn't have the standards that the US has, or even that Canada would have. So you don't know what the situation was with the person that's making these comments. In lots of situations, you will find out that these people didn't get a deep plane facelift, which most of you are getting, hopefully. They had SMAS facelifts, or they had some type of crazy combination. It's important to know when you read comments about procedures not lasting. It's important to know what procedures these people had, and you're not going to know that. When you're reading these comments on the internet, you are not going to know about their overall general condition of wellness going into surgery. You're not going to know whether or not the doctor was board certified. You're not going to know where he was trained, how he was trained. You're not going to know what his specialties were. You're never going to know what type of facelift they had, because what I have learned is that 9 times out of 10, these women that thought they were getting a deep plane facelift and then the facelift doesn't hold up, come to find out it's because they were given a smash facelift. And we're going to talk about this point in a few minutes. And you are not going to know what type of technique the doctor was using. Was he trained in the latest and greatest, or is he using very dated techniques that put the patient through a lot of risk? You may not even know what type of anesthesia was administered. And that's a big deal, because if a person went to a, let's say, a third world country to have their facelift done, and they had someone that wasn't well trained that used old-fashioned general anesthesia, and put them at a lot of risk, and maybe this person wasn't even that well to begin with, well, then you have a lot of issues kind of compounding upon one another. But all you know is that you're reading someone online that says, I had nerve damage, or I almost died, or I have a botched face. So 9 times out of 10, there are all these different reasons that this person is online complaining, and none of them really apply to you. And it's so important not to take what you read at face value, and to remember to be discerning, because very little of what you read on the internet really does apply to you. And so that is a very important rule. It's going to be much harder for those of you that are what I call overthinkers, people that tend to get one thing in their head and they can't shake it, and they start to fixate on that. I have had many women that are fixating on a fear of having nerve damage. Out of all the women I've met and all the women that I've interacted with in my YouTube channel, in my facelift group, which would be several thousand at the minimum, I haven't met one woman yet personally that had nerve damage. It's a very rare thing. So never read these really scary comments if you can help it. Just pass them by. Look for groups of women that are respectable, that seem knowledgeable, that have some type of credibility. If they've had facelifts, maybe a group here and there on social media, but even there, you have to really check them out and make sure that the people that are talking to you in that group are people that have a background and an atmosphere, an environment that you can relate to. Do these people have the means to hire a really good plastic surgeon, as you would? And did they do a lot of research first, so that when they say something to you, you can actually believe it and that it has credibility? So be very careful with what you read on the internet or what you hear in social media, and really vet where you're reading it and who is saying it. It's so important not to just take everything that you read and everything that all the complaints that are out there and to believe them, because 99.9% do not apply to you and your situation. So please remember that. Okay, guidance point number 2. Let's talk about the type of plastic surgeon that you should be seeking out. You want a specialist. And since you're having a facelift, you want a facial plastic surgeon. Now, when I went for my consult, no one had explained this to me. And this was something that the plastic surgeon himself taught me. And he was explaining that there is a big difference between a general cosmetic plastic surgeon and a facial plastic surgeon. In fact, what you want, the very best that you can get, would be a facial and reconstructive plastic surgeon, of course, board certified. So what you're looking for is a board certified facial and reconstructive plastic surgeon. Write that down. You don't want a plastic surgeon that has a specialty with breast augmentation. if you see that, or let's just say you've had breast augmentation and you loved that plastic surgeon, like I loved mine, and you're thinking, well, I'll just go back and use the same plastic surgeon. Don't do it. You want a specialist, an expert in all things face. So it's very important that you determine right off the bat what type of plastic surgeon you're going to be consulting with. You want a facial plastic surgeon. So, facial plastic surgeon does not work on body parts. He doesn't do boobs, he doesn't do butts or arms or mommy makeovers. A facial plastic surgeon does everything related to the face, from facelifts to rhinoplasties, which are nose jobs, and everything in between. He does throat lifts, he does brow lifts, he probably does surgery to repair skin cancer deformities, which is more surgery or Mo surgery, however you say it. And this is the type of specialist that you want. You want someone that is well seasoned, meticulous, and well trained, and they do have different type of training than a general cosmetic plastic surgeon, which takes me into my guidance point number 3. Guidance point number 3 involves liposuction. So if you're working with a general cosmetic plastic surgeon, that type of plastic surgeon is going to be very comfortable with liposuction. However, and he's, by the way, he's going to want to use that approach probably on your throat. When you have a throat that has a lot of loose, fatty skin, don't do it. Don't allow it. Any of the issues I've heard about neck or deplane throat lifts usually has to do with some type of liposuction that was done on the throat, whether it left a mark, a dent, an uneven area, extreme redness. What I learned is that facial plastic surgeons tend to want to work that area with their hands. They don't love the liposuction approach. They like to get in there and they like to actually just see what's there and take out any excess fat and tissue with their fingers. But a general cosmetic plastic surgeon is accustomed to working with liposuction on the body for, mommy makeovers and anything having to do with the arms, the tummy, even the butt. And they're very comfortable and they're skilled, but it's a lot of aggressive work in suctioning when it comes to the delicate throat. I am just from my own observations telling you what I've seen and what I've heard about and what I've helped some women deal with. And some of these issues they thought were from the fact that liposuction had been used in the throat area. So when you're consulting with a plastic surgeon, hopefully you're going to make sure that this plastic surgeon is a facial plastic surgeon and not a general cosmetic plastic surgeon. You can have your own point of view on this. You can research it yourself. You don't have to take my word as gospel. I really don't want you to. This is just my word of caution based on what I've seen and where there have been issues. Guidance point number 4. Guidance point number 4 speaks to the amount of experience that you're looking for with a plastic surgeon. Now, logic would tell you that you would be looking for someone that was very established. Everyone knows this guy. He's done it for his whole career. Older person, female or male, maybe in their late 60s, early 70s. That's kind of what your logic would tell you, your intuition would tell you. But from where I sit and from what I see when I look back and I look for patterns, is that the people that tend to do the best job and the women that I've talked to that are the happiest, including me with my own plastic surgeon, tend to be using plastic surgeons that have practiced. Well, let's just say they're not rookies, they're not newbies. So they've practiced more than a decade, but not as many as 3 decades. So kind of somewhere in between. Maybe they've practiced 12 years, 13 years, and they're still relatively young, but not, not obviously just right out of med school. And they're not much older seasoned person either. There's someone in between, someone that is open to the newer protocols that work, such as offering facelifts without general anesthesia. That tends to be the people that are in the sweet spot that I'm describing, such as doing facelifts without drains. The people that have been doing it for a long time, they're using drains still. They're only offering general anesthesia. They're comfortable doing it that way. They don't want to really branch out. They have it down to a science. They're kind of like on autopilot. But it should give you a little bit of pause when you're working with someone that's done it for 30 or 35 years, just to really think about how innovative and how kind of contemporary they are in their approach. And on the other side of that, do you want someone that, recently I talked to a woman who was going to use a plastic surgeon that had done less than 100 deep plane facelifts. That is a rookie, because less than 100 in the scheme of things is really nothing. You want someone that's done 10,000 deep plane facelifts. You want someone that knows the newest and most contemporary approaches to avoid scarring, to enhance recovery. You want someone that's on the cutting edge of all of those newer protocols. On the other hand, you want someone that's tested those on thousands of people before they reach you. But do you really want that person that's done it 30 or 35 years, and they're very well known, they're famous, maybe very expensive, and they're going to retire soon? Is that who you want? I'm just asking the question. I know who I want, and the doctor that I use have been practicing about 13 years and have lots of great proprietary ways of doing things. Young, determined, probably 40-ish, and determined to do everything the best way possible. So, that sharp, more youthful mindset, steady hand, open to the newer, more innovative approaches, such as offering oral anesthesia, which is the Valium with the numbing shots, as opposed to having the patient go through general anesthesia, be knocked out, have to be unconscious with a breathing tube down their throat, and thinking that that's the panacea. The older plastic surgeons still love that, and they'll make a great argument for it, as will their staff. The younger, more innovative plastic surgeons, that sweet spot, as I was saying, maybe between, working for 10 years to no more than 25, somewhere in there, that's just a great sweet spot. And maybe you've never thought about this before, but it's a guidance point that I'm offering up. Take it as you will. It works for me. Okay, now we're ready for guidance point number 5. Now, guidance point number 5 revolves around knowing and understanding exactly what type of facelift you're going to get. You need to ask, you need to discuss, you need to see it in writing and sign your name against, and have the doctor sign his name against, that's the type of facelift you're going to get. A SMAS facelift, S-M-A-S, mass facelift, which means skin and tissues. It's basically much more of a superficial facelift, where the skin and the tissues are cut and they are tightened, kind of like you're taking in a dress or a piece of clothing and you're tightening it up, and you remove some of the fabric and then you re-sew it. That's more or less what a SMAS is. However, a SMAS facelift is the type of facelift that was available till maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago, when deep planes started coming in. And when you look at the Hollywood celebrities from the golden area of Hollywood, and you see those that have facelifts, they look very tight. They have that what we call windblown look, which is where you look like, the wind is pressing against your skin, and your skin looks very tight and taut and artificial. It's not a natural look. And that would be a SMAS facelift. Now, SMAS facelift doesn't have the longevity of a deep plane facelift. What is a deep plane facelift? Okay, a deep plane facelift is when they go in and they go all the way down, so hence the word deep, beneath the skin, the tissues, and the muscular system, and they grab everything and move it up and reposition it and place everything back right where it was when you were much younger. They put the face up higher and restore its original positioning where it used to sit. And they move the fat that has fallen down, they move it all the way back up so that you have your fullness again. You have your cheekbones again. You have your face shape again that you used to have. A deep plane facelift is a much more natural look. You have longevity. My doctor likes to say that after he's done removing what he doesn't think you need, he ties everything together on the inside into what he calls a corset, which is a very firm kind of grounding of everything that's just been moved and lifted. And that allows the new face and the new positioning to stay where it's at for many years. A deep plane facelift can actually last a decade, if not up to 15 years. It just depends on your lifestyle. And there are things that you have at your control that can help to determine how long your facelift will last. And we'll talk about them briefly today, but that'll be another video. So it's very important to know what type of facelift you're being given. I have met women online that I have conversed with, and they have shown me documents that they signed where they were told that they were getting a deep plane facelift, but the document didn't reflect it. The document either says SMAS and the person didn't pick up on it in the fine print, or the document doesn't specify what type of facelift they're getting. And so it's very disappointing when they come out of it. And sometimes there's not a lot of difference because unlike with a deep plane where everything is, moved up and you can really see the difference with the face and all of the anatomical structures being higher and lifted after a deep plane facelift, you're not going to see that with a SMAS. Sometimes when you're younger and they don't feel that you need a deep plane yet, they will just go ahead and give you a SMAS facelift, and you'll come out of it and you'll be, online complaining and writing to everyone that you can't see a difference. You don't know why you paid all this money and you feel taken advantage of. And it's because you didn't really find out and you didn't get confirmation on the dotted line exactly what type of facelift you were getting. And you have to make sure it's the type that you want. If you want a SMAS facelift because you are young, maybe you're in your mid 40s, and that's all you want. You just want a little refreshing to tide you over for 5 or 6 years, and then you're going to go in and get a deep plane. That's one thing. But if you really wanted a deep plane and you ended up getting a SMAS, it's very, very frustrating because you have to wait a period of time and then you have to pay for a revision type of facelift. And by the way, that's another reason why you want a facial reconstructive plastic surgeon, because they've done those revisions on other people. They've fixed the problems that other plastic surgeons left. And they don't make those mistakes to begin with because they fix those mistakes for other plastic surgeons for patients that were very depressed and upset. So it's another reason why you want a facial and reconstructive plastic surgeon. So now you're sort of understanding the method to my madness here. Make sure you know what type of facelift you're getting, which leads me to our next guidance point, which would be guidance point number 6, which is I would not suggest that you allow your doctor to perform a new type of a facelift on you. I have heard and I have witnessed several women being told that they were going to be given a more modern or newer type of facelift, not a new type of facelift that this doctor has done for years and years and years, but a new type of facelift that this doctor is just starting to offer. And in essence, you are going to be kind of like a guinea pig for this doctor to practice his skill set for this new type of facelift on you. And I have seen some situations with patients that were not happy afterwards with the results because clearly the plastic surgeon hadn't worked out all the kinks to doing this new type of facelift. And you don't want to be that person. So I would urge you to make sure that you either get a deep plane Or if you want to smash, get a smash, but be very careful about other things that you haven't really heard of. Now, there is a very well-known plastic surgeon, Dr. Amir Karam, on YouTube that's excellent. And he's out of San Diego. And he does a lot of YouTube videos. And he has coined his deep planes a vertical restore. Now, you might think, well, that's a new type of facelift, Jude. And, should I be leery of that? I would tell you no. He has done this and sort of made it his thing for years and years and years. So he is very good at this. He is an expert at a vertical deplane facelift. And so you would be in very good hands. But there are doctors out there that are, throwing out these labels and these terms for these different types of facelifts. I see that as a red flag. I would be very, very cautious if they say they're going to do that. I would ask, how many of these have you done? Who else does them? I would look to see if other plastic surgeons are doing them. And if they really are, very popular and mainstream, don't be snookered because it's always an issue when you ask a plastic surgeon to do something that they don't normally do and they don't have the muscle memory built up to do it. You want something that where a doctor has done it over and over and over and has, that muscle memory, kind of like the donut man getting up to make the donuts every morning. That's what you want. Go to someone who does that type of facelift all the time. So that's my point. Okay, now we're ready for guidance point number 7. So it's really important to have a great discussion when you have your consult with your plastic surgeon and to discuss what fillers or Botox you've had and when you've had them. When was the last time, how recently you had them prior to your upcoming surgery date? Many women have written me and asked me, is it a problem that I had fillers up till 3 months prior to my scheduled surgery date? And I always say, well, did you run this past your plastic surgeon? Plastic surgeons all have their own point of view about this, but it's important to discuss it because if they think it's an issue, they may bring you into the office to dissolve your fillers prior to doing the surgery. So give them the information, let them make a decision. Same thing with Botox. You don't want to have a temporal brow lift and have the doctor be working on brows that are already lifted temporarily from Botox. Let them make that call, but it's important to give them the information because anything that you don't share could come back to haunt you and could adversely impact your results. So be open, be honest, especially with your medical condition. It's important to share everything. Let your doctor make the educated decision as to how to move forward, when to schedule you, knowing and taking into account everything that you can possibly think of to tell him. Okay, now we're at guidance point number 8. There we go. Guidance point number 8 is that if you are having a consult with several plastic surgeons, or if you're having a consult with someone on his staff that's not the plastic surgeon, it's really critical to meet the person at some point before surgery and before you agree to pay. It's really critical to meet the person that's going to be operating on you. You cannot have everything you shared be given to someone who's going to get it secondhand. You need to have the opportunity to give your information directly to the person that's going to operate on you. It's important for many reasons. You want to make sure they share your vision. You want to make sure, look them in the eye, watch them, make sure that they seem to be comfortable and seasoned and experienced with what you're asking them to do. In other countries, Turkey, Mexico, some other parts of the world, you will have a concierge and then you will be greeted by a team of doctors, sometimes not till the day of surgery. And this is feedback I've gotten from many women that have gone abroad. It's important that you demand to meet the surgeon or surgeons that are going to be operating on you for all these reasons I just listed. Okay, let's talk about the consult itself. Go to the consult with questions. You should have a list of questions. Don't be shy. Now, I do have a video and I'm promoting it because it's helped many, many women, so I'm told, to prepare for a consult. And it's going to give you the 10 perfect questions to ask. But you might come up with other questions. You might not have time to watch my video. That's okay. Just make sure that you go there with a list of questions that are meaningful to you. Because if you don't have questions, you're not going to really take advantage of the time that the plastic surgeon is carving out for you. And make sure that your questions are prioritized so that if it runs short, put your, I need to ask these really important questions first so that if I can't ask all of them, I've gotten like at least the most important pieces of information out of that doctor. Remember, I went in, I had a very long list. I used the same list for every plastic surgeon I met with. I met with 4 so that I could compare their responses and I could mull it over. And it quickly became evident to me as to who was really with me, who understood what I was looking for, who could complete my sentence because we were on the same page. And, at the end of the day, narrowed it down to 2 people that, had those qualities. And one of them, they were about the same price point and they were about the same distance from me geographically, but one did not offer oral sedation. I would have had to have gone through general anesthesia. The other one did offer oral sedation. And I remember saying to myself, well, I mean, I'm healthy. I can do general anesthesia, but why would I want to do it if I don't have to? But that's another conversation. And I have made many videos about my experience going through this without general anesthesia. It was phenomenal. It was so easy and seamless. You're welcome to watch those videos. I have one that I'm showing you right here. I have another I'm showing you right here. And they're both great. So just know that those were questions that I was asking to eliminate, to get to my decision. And you should do the same thing. So again, don't squander your consult. Use every second and squeeze the juice out of the orange, so to speak. Okay, the next guidance point is one of my favorites because I've been doing this to assist my plastic surgeon, and I know the impact it can make on a decision. Ask for references. You want to talk to real clients that have used that plastic surgeon. You want 2 or 3 that you can call, and if they're good, they can come up with names like really easily because they have so many happy clients. It's one thing to read the reviews on the website, and you should definitely do that, but it's really quite another to talk to people that went through it. Talk to someone that had done exactly what you're having done. If you're going to have 3 or 4 things done, ask to talk to a patient that had 3 or 4 things done. So it's really critical to talk to real people. I recently talked to a woman who said that she was doing her due diligence and she asked to speak with real patients, and she spoke to several, and each of them was getting a revision, and that really scared her and that made her decide to kind of keep looking for another plastic surgeon. So don't forget to ask for referrals. You don't have to meet them for coffee. You can talk to them over the phone. Ask them to send you before and after pictures so that, if they tell you they had a good result, you can see for yourself if you think they had a good result. So our next guidance point has to do with recovering right for the best results. It's super critical to do what you need to do after your surgery and truly for the first year after your surgery to ensure that you not only have the best results possible, but that they last as long as possible. So one of the things that you don't want to do is you don't want to go back to sleeping with your makeup on. Once you've invested in your face thousands of dollars, it would be crazy. It would be sabotage to literally go to bed with your makeup on, your sunscreen on. You need to take everything off. You need to, wash your face with a cleanser. Don't use soap with detergent. It's very drying. You want to wash your face with a facial cleanser and then put some good skincare on. Invest in good skincare. I do have a video that I have put together that shows you what I love and what I typically have used, and it doesn't break the bank. And I don't necessarily use products made by plastic surgeons. They tend to be pretty overpriced. It's really important to treat your skin like this incredible investment. It's easy to just forget everything you went through and how hard you saved and how long it took to get to the point where you had that surgery done. But now that you have to engage in really good skincare habits, dietary habits, preventative habits, and preservative habits. Because you have to take care and preserve this newfound beautiful face that you have. And when you get up and you're going to go outside, you have to have a great sunscreen to protect you from all rays. I love, and this is a sort of a newer one for me, I love this sunscreen. It protects you from blue light from your computer screen, ultraviolet light in the form of daylight and sunlight. It uses a physical sunscreen to protect you, and it's wonderful. This one in particular gives you a gorgeous glow, and then anything you put on top of it, I actually have it on right now, anything you put on top of it just has a beautiful, smooth, glowing look. And I also use an SPF-based tinted moisturizer, and I have it up here, and that's in my video on the products that I use. The sunscreen I showed you is newer, but this one is in my video, and I layer the two, and that way I have a lot of good protection, and I also have beautiful color. And I'm actually wearing that tinted moisturizer with the sunscreen right now, not foundation, and it's just so fresh and pretty. But 90% of the visible signs of aging, what you see when you start to look older, that's all from UV light. Whether it's daylight, sunlight, it comes through the glass, it comes into your rooms. You could be eating breakfast by a kitchen window and it's coming in and it's touching your skin. You could be driving. You don't have to just be outside in direct sunlight to be affected by UV light. So make sure that you put that sunscreen on that protects really beautifully, and wear it every day, all day, and take it off when you go to bed. The other thing is you should avoid direct sunlight touching your skin and your sutures for a year. If direct sunlight touches your skin and touches your incisions, you could have a delay in your scars healing, and you don't want that. So if you want non-visible scars, you have to protect from direct sunlight. So you have to wear a really big hat. A baseball cap doesn't do it. And I've said this in my other videos, and I'm making sure I say it again because that's a mistake you can avoid. So wear the right protection between the sunscreen and the physical hat that shades you. Wear them all the time for the first year after you had your facelift. It's important to eat healthy. It's important to exercise. When you exercise, you deliver blood and oxygen to your skin, and your skin stays really healthy, and your circulatory system works better, you're healthier, and everything just is preserved at a much better level than when you're sedentary and you're sitting around. I am a big supplement user. I probably take 30 to 40 supplements a day. A lot of people ask me, how do you look so good and so young and stay so fit? I'm never ill, never ever. And how do you do that? And I really believe it's my combination of I eat right, I exercise every day, I use supplements, and I get great sleep. It's so important to have the movement, the diet, the protection, the supplementation, and it's just like 4 legs of a table. All of that just keeps your skin functioning at a very high level. Now, I do take supplements that are specifically for the health and beauty of my skin, and I have a video that talks about 2 supplements I love that are specifically for the health of the skin. Those are 2 of my best kept secrets that I wouldn't do without. Remember that protect, prevent, and preserve are the 3 P's that are critical to ensuring that your facelift investment gives you a strong ROI, a return on investment, and that you love your new face for many years to come. Now we come to our very last guiding point. And I'm pretty excited about this. Many women aren't aware that there is this wonderful organization called the American Association of Facial and Reconstructive Plastic Surgeons. And they have an online site. And all you have to do is put in the acronym for what I just said, and it'll pop up. The end of the site address is .org. And you might want to jot that down and put it in your phone or jot it in your notebook. The American Association of Facial and Reconstructive Plastic Surgeons.org website greets you in a great way. It gives you all kinds of options. You have options to watch videos on procedures. You can seek out a facial and reconstructive plastic surgeon by zip code, by city and state, and this repository of names of facial and reconstructive surgeons is good for the US and Canada. All you need to do, if you're not sure where to start to find some really very fine plastic surgeons to interview, is go to this site, go to the section that asks for your zip code or the city and state that you'd like to stay within when you're looking for a surgeon, and just fill that in, and it will populate with a list of facial and reconstructive plastic surgeons, all board certified, that you can then learn more about, and it will provide contact information. So you have their website, you have their phone numbers, and you can go from there. So this site is invaluable. And I think that very, very many women do not know that this site is available. And even if you live in Canada, you can use the site, which I love. I think that that's awesome. And everyone on the site, as I said, is board certified. So that's one thing that you don't have to worry about. I would do my due diligence. I would research the surgeon after I determine that that's someone that I'm going to have a consult with. Also, look at their website. It's normal for a doctor to have a small percentage of negative reviews. Sometimes they just get some very, very unstable people who walk through their door and love to create chaos online if the doctor rubs them the wrong way. That's just, a fact of life. So I wouldn't take it too seriously if you see a few bad reviews. But if you start to see a pattern where people are having the same issue over and over with that doctor, then you either might want to think twice about a consult, especially if you have to pay for it, or you book it, but you ask some questions to try to ferret out the truth about those situations. If they're all complaining because the doctor doesn't get back to them or doesn't have a good response system, then you could ask during your consult, what if I'm having an issue post-surgery? What is your protocol for getting back to me when I reach out to you, or how do I reach out to you? And is that a priority to you? And then potentially you might want to move on. But definitely use this site if you can, because it already kind of harvests all the best surgeons that are board certified, they're facialists, and they're reconstructive surgeons, and it serves it up to you within a certain geographic area. And that makes your search so much easier. And then you have my video that gives you questions to ask if you're not sure where to begin. And you have all the things we talked about today, including asking to talk to 2 or 3 of their patients that have had the procedures that you want to have done. With that, that brings us to a close for this video. And I hope that I've given you a lot of things to think about so that you're not rushing out and making mistakes, because this is your face. You want to do it right. You don't want to be careless. And it's kind of like that song, Fools Rush In. You don't want to be one of those fools that rush in. Take everything I said to heart, but remember, these are my opinions that I formed interacting with many women in my YouTube channel and through Facebook that are all seeking out or having or just had facelifts. And if you'd like to check out more videos on this YouTube channel, remember that you're watching me on Jude Reborn Girl, and my facelift group on Facebook is Facelift 101. So until our paths cross again, I hope that you will take a moment, if you've loved this video, and I hope you have, to like it and to subscribe. I would very, very much love to have your viewership on an ongoing basis. And share with your aesthetic warrior sisters that are out there that are thinking of doing this and don't want to make some of these innocent mistakes that we all can make if we don't know someone to inform us. And that's what I'm here for. So have a good one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Cheers.